Coach, can you just talk about the growth in your room this year? It feels like that those outside guys have really started to get a lot more confident the last few weeks as Squirrels made more and more plays, and they've kind of got their footing.
Yeah, I think that's been the kind of the word of the year is just growth. I think the relieving part about that word is we've yet to peak. So I think, as those guys continue to work, like the best version of themselves, like we'll continue to see. Got a bunch of guys in new spots, a bunch of guys that are used to new roles. And I think ultimately, that detail, the intensity that it takes to prepare each week, I think just repetition of that over and over is why guys are becoming more comfortable. And now you've been able to see them make more plays as of late. So I think as they continue to work that plan, that'll continue to come.
Rob, then Casey.
Coach, Dante Thornton the last couple of weeks has been showing up more and more. Where's his improvement coming from? And, do you like him working outside as opposed to the slot stuff?
Yeah, I think we've been able to get him confident and comfortable. I think early on, a lot of that, man, like he's a kid that he wants to do so well. And you kind of toe that line of like pressing and being aggressive and just getting him to calm down and not press so much and just go play football. And I think now you're seeing the confident version of him, which is why he's able to go and make plays. So the plan in practice is continue to do that, continue to keep him confident. That way you can see him relax and play ball on Saturday.
Going off of that with Dante, is there anyone that's been in the wide receiving room that he's really been able to kind of take advice from and look up to that's really pulled him along to help give him the confidence that he's needed this season?
I think Brew has been awesome for all those guys. He's always in the building. He's in meetings. He's in team meetings. And, as devastating as it was having him go down, I think it gave him a bigger voice. He was already a leader of that group, but his voice, I think, being able to speak to those guys, he's helped each and every one of those guys tremendously.
Coach, along the same lines, did you see the urgency really start to pick up with your guys when Brew went down?
Absolutely. And, you never know when that moment's going to come. That's why you always got to prepare as if you're up next. And so I think there was a big wake-up call, not only about the urgency, but just opportunity when Brew went down. So you've seen some guys step and make plays. Like Chaz made a couple huge plays the last weeks. Caleb Webb made a really huge play last week. And Dante and Ramel we talked about. But, it's got to create urgency within the group. And I think it has done
that. Coach, with moving Dante outside, why is he more comfortable there? Was that part of the reason he's got more confident? Is the position change, or is that maybe overstated too much in terms of him going for the slot?
I think it is an overstatement. You don't know. We play guys in and outside most of the time. Sometimes it could be just getting them in one spot and allowing them to be comfortable, and the game slows down a lot quicker. That's just kind of something. It's kind of case-by-case basis.
And over the past few weeks, you've had D come into your room from the defense. What's his growth curve been like learning? I don't know how much he played receiver.
He's having to learn he's having to learn a whole new side of football. Like he's been learning defensive terminology, so he's now on the offensive side, just building him from the ground up, day one foundation. So D's handled that task well. He's got to continue to do that as the season goes on, but he's been in the building, he's learning, he's asking questions, being a sponge. That's all we can ask for him. So it's exciting to have him in the room as well. A guy with that type of talent and what he can do with the ball in his hand is always good.
You mentioned the term growth. How does that apply for you as a coach?
It forces you to teach in new ways. It forces you to be able to articulate and inspire and motivate in different ways. Like the way that Squirrel's motivated is not going to be the same way Jalen Hyde was motivated. Same way with Chaz and Caleb. Like you can't motivate them the same way Brew will be motivated. So I think the biggest part of being a coach is having a voice, but also having an ear and knowing when and how to get through to certain players. And with each group, each year is going to look different. Like each group is going to take on their own DNA. And I think as you continue to get experience with that group, I think it ultimately lets you know like how guys are triggered and what buttons to push and when to push them. So that's been the biggest growth part for me this year.
Ryan and Casey.
Did you have any relationship with D before you made the change, or have you had to kind of get to know him recently?
No, so I coach him on punt return. So like the relationship was kind of seamless. I would like to think I had a good relationship with him, but he's awesome. He's a great kid on punt return. Worked with him there the last 2 years, so the connection was already there. The only piece building with him was just the terminology. Like I said, he's done a great job of being a sponge and going in and working on and off the field and becoming a wideout now.
Going off of that with D, how much of it was him advocating for himself that he wanted to get a chance on offense, and how much of it was you just knowing his ability and how he could fit in there?
I think, hats off to that kid because his mindset has always been like, I just want to help the team in whatever way I can. Like, if he's snapping for or he's a placeholder, like, it don't matter. Like, his mindset has always been he wants to help the team. So I think once we made the move to him coming to offense, naturally he's excited about that because I think he feels some of his own skill set that could be used over there. And so we're going to try to create some more opportunities for him there.
Coach, you said a minute ago that each wide receiver room over your years has its own DNA. What would you describe the DNA of this wide receiver room?
I think that's to be determined. I think, I mentioned earlier, like, I think the best version of this group is yet to be out there. And I think as we continue to roll the rest of the season, like we got a long season the rest of the way, I think, man, that's to be determined. I think, just the way these guys have practiced the last couple of weeks, like you're continuing to see guys do new things and become better. So I feel like the jury's still out on that.
Last question, Vince.
What can you say about the relationship your wide receiver room has with Joe Milton and some of the more recent success in all of it coming together?
Joe does a good job of leading those guys. He's not afraid to hold those guys accountable. He's not afraid to take accountability on his own. Those guys have done a good job of feeding off each other, talking through things, and battling through some issues. And I think as we continue to go and that line of communication stays open, I think you'll get the best version of him as well. So he's been awesome leading those guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.